Last week, my company Sonora Cinematic, in collaboration with Ocean Swift Synthesis, launched an innovative virtual synth, Porphyra Hybrid. This cutting-edge tool combines a powerful wavetable engine with a unique sampler, offering sound designers a real playground for creating amazing cinematic sounds. I've been using Porphyra in my own work a lot, and is becoming a go-to for creating cool textures, cinematic pads, and growling basses. So today, I want to try and share 5 tips to help you unlock the full potential of this amazing synth. Let's dive in. Tip number 1 is to use the Inharmonic Mode to add interest to your sound. Inharmonic Mode is a bit magical. When you activate it, it adds an additional oscillator and tunes it in a way that can be pretty complex to explain, but all you need to know is that it creates really unique, cool sounds. The Inharmonic control lets you adjust how much the tuning you want, and that's where the creative possibilities come in. Let's see how. I'm gonna start with this sound. Okay, so really pretty cool, but let's turn the Inharmonic Mode on and I can start the tuning. It gets very crazy, of course, so let's start trying a couple of things. The first thing I can do is gonna go to wheel here in option and gonna set the Inharmonic to maybe 10% modulation, which now means that if I start moving the mod wheel on top of the AB layer, which was already set up over here as a destination, I will also start moving Inharmonic slightly. Which sounds really cool. Or the other thing that I can do is that I can get rid of the mod wheel modulation that I just set up. And instead I can do something like bring it all the way down so I get an octave down effect. And this sounds really huge, so let's filter it a little bit, and in the filter envelope I'm gonna add a bit of depth. A bit more so that it opens almost completely. Really cool. I love how this sounds. Tip number 2 is to use the Mod Oscillator as an actual extra oscillator. If you watch my walkthrough video for Porphyra Hybrid, link up here, you know all the ways the Mod Oscillator can be used to completely transform the sound of the wavetable in Porphyra. Here, I want to propose a simpler, different approach which is super useful. You can use the Mod Oscillator as an actual additional audio oscillator and tune it independently from the original. We can try this one on the same sound that we were programming before, but I'm gonna change the Mod Oscillator to Mod Mix Mode. So as we said, this essentially turns it into an external oscillator in terms of the actual signal of the oscillator being mixed in. So I'm going to bring it all the way in here. Let's get rid of Inharmonic so that we can focus on this specific control. And now that acts as a volume control for this extra oscillator. You can really hear it loud this way. So let's bring the frequency all the way down 1 octave so that it works as a sub oscillator. And that's quite fun, but let's try setting up a completely different sound. So I'm gonna keep wavetable to this cycle and corpus one, or maybe let's try just another one, why not? Let's try Brutus, quite like this one. And I'm gonna set the frequency to a fifth up, so +7 semitones. There you go. And now let's try and mix in something from the sampler. Let's try one of Nicky's keys. And if I want a bit more of the fifth harmony, bring it up. Can you really hear it now? Tip number 3 is to get creative with the included gator. The gator in Porphyra Hybrid is really brilliant. The team at Oceans with Synthesis added a few simple tweaks that make it really fun to use. If you've seen my full walkthrough, you already know that the gator can be activated independently for each layer. But one of my favorite tricks is to flip the steps on one layer so that they mirror each other. This creates a cool, evolving sequence or creative bass lines that are perfect for adding tension and movement to a film score or a game soundtrack. Let's get into the effects section and let's add a gator. I'm going to get rid of the delay for now so that we can really focus on what's happening over here. And obviously you can draw in the gator, but let's try one of the presets. How about shaped maybe? And now the gator is active on both the wavetable and the sample layer. But the cool thing is that you can flip it on one of the two. So for example, let's flip it on the sample layer. And now if I press a key, you get this really cool pulsating feeling. Let's try and do this with a bass sound. So I'm gonna add the mod mix back in and I'm going to bring it a couple of octaves down actually. There you go. Maybe let's change the waveform to something like a triangular wave. Cool, but let's find something a bit more steppy. Maybe like stepper. Let's see how this sounds. Cool, again, let's flip wavetable now, and I'm going to get rid of the reverb for now and instead add some delay. Can close the filter a bit more. Let's play a bit with the gator. Let's change the rate. And I'm gonna try a different filter shape, maybe a ladder with 4 poles, so that would be a 24 dB per octave filter. This is a cool pulsing bass. Let's try and add a bit of chorus. Very subtle, but it kind of makes it wider. Number 4, don't forget to use the 5th LFO, LFO X. Again, if you watch my full tutorial, you'll be aware of the special features of the 5th LFO in Porphyra, LFO X. Let's put it to good use here to create ever-evolving soundscapes. LFO X mixes a variety of waveforms in the background to give you a brand new one every time you click on the wave button. Since a square wave is always included in the ingredients for these waveform soup, you always get some sort of pulse implied in the modulation. This is, of course, sound design goal for cinematic music. Let's give it a go. Let's go back to the sound that we programmed earlier and let's find a good use for the LFO X. So now it's set to mix AB, which is actually a pretty cool thing. Let's bring the depth all the way to 100%. And now if I press a key, I should hear the LFO X mixing between the layer A and B. Let's increase the rate a little bit and let's tempo sync it. Cool. Now, you'll notice that if I start pressing the wave button, I'm gonna start hearing different sort of pulses. And again. Cool. Now I'm gonna decrease the depth a little bit, and instead of using this for depth, let's use it to open the filter. I'm going to really bring the filter down, and now let's hear how this works on the filter. And now again, let's press on the waveform option. See how the rhythm is different every time. Oh, this is really steppy. And another fun thing about the LFO X is that it can be faded in. So if I bring the fade in to maybe a couple of seconds and set the LFO to retrig, I'll see that once I press the key, I hear no effect whatsoever, and then a couple of seconds later, the filter starts being opened. Number 5, make the most of polyphonic aftertouch. Porphyra features an amazing implementation of polyphonic aftertouch. Make sure you make the most of it if you can. That is, if you own a poly aftertouch capable controller, like one of the Control Mark III by Native Instruments or my Osmos over here. Poly aftertouch is a modulation source in the options menu. Let's have a look at it. For this one, let's prepare a very simple sound. I want to get maybe a saw wave, and let's find one of the unison waveform in sampler. And we can do a bit of the tuning maybe. So maybe unison 2. Okay, and I'm going to set both tuning to 0 semitone, so they're centered, and I'm going to detune slightly one of the two. Bit too much. Okay, this way it sounds really huge, and now I'm going to close the filter quite a bit. And I'm gonna go to Options and find Poly Aftertouch and set it to opening the filter. So cut all the way up, and then going to bring 0. Well, a touch of resonance should work well. And now let's try it on the Osmos. It becomes a really cool, expressive instrument where the harder I press a key, the more the filter is open. But let's try a kind of different target. Let's work with something on the wavetable. So I'm gonna set up wavetable as an option, and I'm gonna find a table that I like. How about this distorted? Let's open the filter, of course. Okay. This is fun, it's gonna sound a bit crazy, and let's set the Poly Aftertouch to control maybe 70% of the morph. And now the harder I will press a key on my Osmos, the more the morph control will go up. And this is cool because obviously it happens polyphonically, which means that it will have different values for each different key. And the really cool thing is that you can use Poly Aftertouch to control different targets at the same time. So if I bring the filter back down and I keep morph set up over here, I can also go to filter and set the Poly Aftertouch to also open the filter. That's all I have for today. Porphyra Hybrid is still available at intro price. Take a look at sonoracinematic.com. I'll see you next time.